Buckle up, folks, because what I'm seeing on these recent runs is nothing short of breathtaking. We're not even out of October yet, and winter is already ramping up as if it has something to prove. The atmosphere is filling, Arctic air is building up north of the border, and the jet stream is preparing to descend deep over the center of the United States. Now, I'd like you to think back. Remember the amazing winter of 2013 to 2014? Winter seemed to last forever. The one that blanketed the Midwest and Great Lakes with snow and ice well, the early indications I'm seeing now have the same energy, not identical, but strangely familiar. And to be honest, it's giving me chills, both physically and metaphorically, because this setup has the potential to provide one of the most relentless early beginnings to winter in over 10 years. Begin with what's coming up now. Within the next 7 days, we'll feel the first true blast of Arctic air. The cold front that is descending through the northern plains is no joke. Behind it, we may expect widespread frost, nighttime lows in the 20s and 30s, and even some teens in the Dakotas and Minnesota by the end of the season. We are nearing the end of October, with chilly, biting winds sweeping throughout the Midwest, Great Lakes, and Northeast. And then, as we approach November, it's as if someone switches the switch from autumn to deep winter. By the way, if you want particular weather forecasts for your location or city, please leave them in the comments. I'll respond personally as time allows. Also, if you enjoyed the video and subscribed to my channel, I would be glad. Now let us go on. The first week of November might bring our first large snowstorm, extending from the upper Midwest through the Great Lakes and into interior New England. I'm talking 6 to 12 inches for Minneapolis, Green Bay, and northern Michigan right now. And as the low moves east, it will bring lake effect bands across Buffalo, Erie, and the classic early season configuration. Don't be surprised if Buffalo gets a rapid foot of snow by Veterans Day. This is when things become really fascinating. The long-range pattern shows multiple cold reloads, one after the other. It's the type of jet stream that continues sending frigid air south. That means November will act more like December. And by the holidays, everyone will be talking about how early winter arrived. Let's divide it down by region because this pattern will look very different depending on where you live. The Midwest and Great Lakes are unquestionably the target areas. If you live in Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, Northern Illinois, Indiana, or Ohio, prepare for an above-average snowfall season from beginning until we're talking 50 to 80 inches in many places, with certain snowbelts around Lake Michigan and Lake Erie potentially reaching 100 inches or more by March. This year, Chicago is expected to receive a solid 50 inches, which is significantly higher than typical. Cleveland is closer to 70, and for Buffalo, I wouldn't rule out another 100-inch season. It's that type of scenario. This year's cold air source appears to be hitting the Northeast early as well. New York City, Boston, Hartford, and Albany. You'll feel winter far sooner than usual. Expect the first accumulating snow in early to mid-November, which is unusual for you. As we move farther into December and January, the coastal storm track becomes more active. That includes nor'easters, which may drop 12 to 24 inches in one shot. Boston might end the season with 60 inches, New York City with 40, and interior New England with 80 to 100 inches in some higher elevations of Vermont and New Hampshire, respectively. This could challenge 2013 in places like Worcester and Portland. Northern Plains. You are the source of this cold pattern. The Arctic blasts will continue to dip across Montana and the Dakotas before flowing south to Bismarck, Fargo, and Rapid City. Expect persistent snowpack and temperatures in the teens and 20s for the most of the season. Total seasonal totals range from 60 to 80 inches, with extreme cold spells that can drop wind chills below 40 degrees. The Pacific Northwest and Northern Rockies. You're in for a good old-fashioned mountain winter. That jet stream is going to dip and reload through your area frequently. Spokane, Boise, and Missoula should see early snowfall by Halloween weekend. The Cascades and Rockies are in for a big year, with 300 to 400 inches of snow anticipated at elevation. Seattle and Portland will also feel the chill. This year's forecast includes more cold showers and a few chances of snow. The Central Plains Midwest Transition Zone. Here's where things get dicey. Kansas, Missouri, Nebraska, Iowa. You'll spend the entire season riding the war zone between Arctic cold and Gulf dampness. That's an ideal recipe for recurring snow and ice events. This year, Kansas City could receive around 30 inches, while Omaha could receive over 40. And I wouldn't be surprised if St. Louis experienced multiple freezing rain incidents this winter. The South is now even. Even if you're not known for your snow, don't get too comfortable. This pattern brings chilly air well into Texas and the well south. Dallas, Oklahoma City, Little Rock, and possibly regions of northern Mississippi and Alabama may have 1 or 2 measurable snowfall storms this winter. I'm talking about 1 to 4 inches in certain locations, with overnight lows dropping into the 20s on several occasions. Nashville, you're in that perfect location again this year. Maybe 10 to 15 inches total, which is large for you. Your story will be a mixed mixture of the West and Southwest, including California, Nevada, Arizona, and New Mexico. The Sierra Nevada could have a strong snow year again, with 300 to 350 inches, as expected in higher elevations. Probably the snowiest season in 5 or 6 years. Now let's speak about December through February, which is the main center of this pattern. December appears frigid and stormy from coast to coast. By mid-December, I expect the whole central United States to be experiencing below-average temperatures. Expect highs in the 20s and 30s from Chicago to Pittsburgh to New York City. The energy in the Pacific is feeding into a very active storm track, and when it collides with Arctic air over the Great Lakes and Northeast, we will have repeated significant snowfalls. By January, the core of the cold has settled in. This could be the month that people remember when pipes freeze, lake ice forms rapidly, and even the South feels as if winter has teeth. There's a significant probability we'll have a few nationwide cold waves, with temperatures below freezing in 80% of the lower 48. That's how powerful the Arctic influence may be. And here's something else. As we move into late January and February, that pattern may strengthen. The polar vortex appears to want to wobble south this year, which might result in another bout of harsh weather across the Midwest, Great Lakes, and Northeast. This is when we could expect the most stunning snowfall. Totals for deep lake snow occurrences that just won't quit. We're talking 3 to 4 feet in Syracuse, Erie, and Marquette. Meanwhile, the West should remain busy, with one storm after another crashing into California and continuing east. This is good news for water resources, but it makes travel difficult. Now, if you are asking, does this winter ever end? Not anytime soon. Even March might remain chilly and snowy in portions of the northern United States. This is not one of those winters that ends prematurely. It will most likely last till the first half of before we begin to break the. Overall, this winter appears to be colder and snowier than usual across much of the country. Although not extreme everywhere, it was certainly remarkable. If you remember how unrelenting 2013 felt when you'd shovel the driveway only to have it snow again the next day, this year could be similar. So let's talk about Melissa, since this storm is turning into one of those moments when the atmosphere decides to remind us who truly has control. I've been watching Melissa's progress for the past few days, and the rate of intensity has been astonishing. It's passing over a zone of exceptionally warm waters, which is a classic scenario for quick strengthening. All signals now point to a direct hit on Jamaica by a major hurricane. This is not just a passing system or a minor blow. Melissa is slowing down, which is one of the worst-case scenarios for a storm of this magnitude. The slower it moves, the longer it hammers the same spot. We aren't just talking about a few hours of high winds. We may be dealing with a day or more of nonstop rain, life-threatening flooding, and extensive power disruptions. By tonight, weather in Jamaica will begin to deteriorate, with winds increasing up and outer bands moving in. Then comes the core, which will most likely occur on Sunday or Monday, and things will quickly become dangerous. I'm referring to sustained winds strong enough to wreak catastrophic damage, particularly in the central and eastern regions of the island. Melissa could potentially reach Category 4, flirting with Category 5, strength, just as it moves in. So, as I've stated all week, this isn't about hype, it's all about preparation. You still have time to prepare, but the window is closing quickly. When the winds start howling and the rain starts pouring, it's too late to move, so do what you have to do right now. Stay safe, be smart, and remember that the storm will pass. However, how you prepare before it hits will make all the difference.